Good evening, and welcome. Tonight, there is nowhere you need to be, nothing you need to finish, and nothing asking for your attention. The busy world can wait until morning. For now, simply allow yourself to settle into a comfortable position. Let your breathing become slow and natural. Feel the weight of your body gently sinking into your bed or chair, while your mind begins to drift away from the noise of the day. Tonight, we will take a peaceful journey across the vast landscapes of America. Not to its famous cities filled with bright lights and crowded streets, but to quiet places that time has almost forgotten. Together, we will visit the forgotten ghost towns of America.
Despite their mysterious name, these towns are not places of horror. Instead, they are places of silence. Places where nature has slowly reclaimed roads, buildings, and memories. Places where history still whispers softly through the wind. Imagine that it is a cool autumn evening. The sun has already disappeared beyond distant mountains, leaving behind a sky painted in soft shades of blue, lavender, and silver. Above you, thousands of stars begin appearing one by one, sparkling quietly in the endless sky. A gentle breeze moves through wide open valleys, carrying the fresh scent of pine trees, dry grass, and ancient wooden cabins. Far away, the modern world seems to disappear. There are no busy highways, no traffic, no ringing phones. Only stillness, only peace. As you slowly walk along an old dirt road, you notice weathered wooden fences standing exactly where they have stood for more than a century. Every step feels slower than the last. The air is calm. The night feels welcoming. The moon casts a soft silver glow across abandoned streets that were once full of life. Long ago, these streets echoed with the sounds of horses pulling wagons, children laughing, merchants calling to customers, and miners returning home after long days beneath the earth. Now, only the wind remembers those sounds. America has hundreds of ghost towns. Some were born during exciting gold rushes. Others grew beside busy railroads or prosperous farms. For a brief moment in history, they flourished. Families built homes, schools opened their doors, church bells rang every Sunday morning. General stores welcomed travelers from near and far. Hotels offered warm meals to tired visitors. Dreams filled every corner. People believed these towns would last forever. But history often moves in unexpected ways. Gold mines eventually became empty. Railroad routes changed. Businesses closed. Families packed their belongings into wagons, then automobiles, searching for new opportunities elsewhere. Little by little, year after year, the towns became quieter. Windows closed. Front doors stopped opening. Smoke no longer rose from chimneys. Eventually, only silence remained. Yet silence has its own kind of beauty. Nature never rushes. The wind gently brushes across empty streets. Wildflowers bloom where old gardens once grew. Tall grasses sway around forgotten porches. Cottonwood trees stretch their branches toward the stars. Owls quietly watch from rooftops that have stood through countless winters. Time continues its gentle work. Without anger, without hurry, simply moving forward. As we continue our peaceful journey tonight, imagine yourself walking through one of these forgotten places. The wooden sidewalks softly creak beneath your feet. An old lantern hangs outside a general store, no longer shining, but still quietly waiting. The faded sign above the entrance has become difficult to read after decades beneath sun, snow, rain, and wind. Nearby stands a small hotel. Its windows reflect the moonlight like calm water. Inside, empty rooms remain exactly as they were left long ago. You can almost imagine travelers removing dusty boots after long journeys across the American West. Perhaps they shared warm coffee beside a glowing fireplace. Perhaps they exchanged stories about distant mountains, endless deserts, or dreams of discovering gold. Those voices have faded into history. But somehow, there is something deeply comforting about places where time seems to slow down. Nothing demands your attention here. Nothing feels urgent. The quiet streets invite you to simply breathe, to simply observe, to simply rest. In many ways, these forgotten towns remind us that every busy moment eventually becomes a memory. The buildings grow older. The roads become quieter. The seasons continue changing. And the stars above remain exactly where they have always been. Tonight, beneath those same stars, we begin exploring some of America's most peaceful, forgotten places. Places where old wooden homes still stand against gentle mountain winds. Places where abandoned churches quietly welcome the sunrise every morning. Places where empty schools still overlook fields filled with wildflowers. Places where history never truly disappeared. It simply became quieter. So take one more slow, gentle breath.
Feel the cool night air. Listen carefully to the soft whisper of the wind moving through ancient streets. Allow every sound to become softer. Allow every thought to drift farther away, because our first destination now appears on the horizon. A quiet town resting high in the mountains of California. A town once filled with thousands of hopeful dreamers. A town whose peaceful streets have remained almost untouched for more than 100 years. Its name, Bodie. And that is where our gentle journey will continue in part 2. Part 2, Bodie, the town that time chose to keep. Take another slow, gentle breath as you exhale. Imagine yourself traveling farther west, leaving behind the busy highways of modern America. The sounds of traffic slowly fade away, replaced by something much softer, the whisper of mountain winds and the quiet rhythm of nature. Ahead of you, the Sierra Nevada mountains rise beneath a sky that seems endless. Their peaks glow faintly beneath the early morning light, while long shadows stretch peacefully across the valley below. The road becomes narrower. The air grows cooler. Every mile feels like a gentle step backward through history. Soon, on a quiet hillside, wooden buildings begin to appear. Not one or two, but an entire town. A town that seems to be waiting patiently, as though its people have only stepped away for a little while. Welcome to Bodie, California. Today, Bodie is one of America's best preserved ghost towns. More than 100 weathered buildings still stand beneath the wide western sky, almost exactly as they were left decades ago. The streets are empty. The windows are dusty. The wooden porches creak softly whenever the wind passes through. Yet nothing feels frightening. Instead, everything feels wonderfully peaceful. Imagine yourself walking slowly down the town's main street. Your footsteps are soft against the old wooden boards. To your left stands an abandoned general store. Behind its dusty windows, faded shelves still hold forgotten bottles, rusted cans, and small everyday items that once brought comfort to families living here. Nothing has moved for many years. It is as though time itself decided to pause. Further ahead, an old schoolhouse quietly watches over the empty streets. Many years ago, children filled these classrooms with laughter and curiosity. Every morning they arrived carrying books beneath their arms, greeting teachers and friends before beginning another day of lessons. If you close your eyes for just a moment, it is easy to imagine those happy sounds drifting gently through the mountain air. Then, as you open them again, only silence remains. But it is a comforting silence, the kind of silence that allows the mind to rest. Bodie was not always quiet. In the late 19th century, this town was alive with hope. Everything began after gold was discovered in these rugged hills. Word spread quickly across America. People came from distant cities, small farms, and neighboring countries, all carrying the same dream, to build a better life. Within only a few years, Bodie became one of California's busiest mining towns. Thousands of people called this place home. There were hotels filled with travelers, restaurants, serving warm meals after long days in the mines. Churches welcoming families every Sunday. Barber shops, bakeries, blacksmiths, and busy general stores lined the streets. Smoke drifted gently from chimneys each evening as families gathered together for supper. Children played beneath the golden afternoon sun. Neighbors greeted one another with friendly smiles. At night, lanterns glowed warmly from nearly every window. The town must have looked beautiful beneath the stars. Imagine standing quietly on one of those evenings. The cool mountain air carries the scent of fresh pine trees mixed with the faint aroma of wood smoke. Somewhere nearby, a piano softly plays inside a small hotel. Laughter floats through open windows. A horse slowly walks across the street, its hooves making gentle sounds against the dusty road. Everything feels alive. Everything feels hopeful. But, as history often reminds us, nothing remains exactly the same forever. Over time, the rich gold veins deep beneath the mountains slowly began to disappear. Mining became more difficult. Families started leaving in search of new opportunities. Some packed only a few belongings. Others carefully loaded wagons filled with treasured memories. One by one, the houses became empty. The hotel welcomed fewer guests. The schoolhouse closed its doors. The church bells grew silent. Eventually, the town rested peacefully beneath the passing seasons. Winter snow covered its rooftops. Spring flowers returned each year. Summer sunshine warmed the empty streets. Autumn winds carried colorful leaves across forgotten doorsteps. Nature continued its quiet rhythm, asking for nothing. As the decades passed, Bodie remained, not frozen by magic, but preserved by time, dry mountain air, and the care of those who recognized its historical value. Today, visitors walk these same streets with quiet respect. They speak softly, they pause often, not because they are afraid, but because places like this naturally invite stillness. They remind us that every life leaves gentle traces behind. An old rocking chair beside a window, a worn pair of boots near a doorway, a faded photograph resting on a dusty shelf. Simple objects, yet each one quietly tells the story of someone who once laughed, worked, hoped, and dreamed beneath these same mountains. As you continue walking through Bodie, the morning sun rises a little higher. Golden light falls gently across the weathered buildings. A small bird lands on an old fence before flying silently into the clear blue sky. The wind brushes softly through dry grass growing between forgotten wooden fences. Nothing feels rushed. Nothing asks for your attention. You simply continue walking, breathing, listening, allowing the peaceful quiet to settle around you like a warm blanket. In this stillness, it becomes easy to understand why places like Bodie continue to capture the imagination. They are not simply abandoned towns. They are gentle reminders that history never truly disappears. It simply grows quieter with time. As our journey continues, we will leave the cool mountains of California behind and travel into the wide, open deserts of Nevada, where another forgotten town waits beneath endless skies. Its crumbling stone buildings still catch the golden light of sunset. Its empty streets remain wrapped in silence. And its name is Rhyolite. That is where our peaceful journey will continue in Part 3. Part 3, Rhyolite, where the desert learned to whisper. Take another slow, comfortable breath. Feel the gentle rhythm of your breathing becoming slower, calmer, more peaceful. As the cool mountain air of Bodie slowly fades behind us, our journey carries us farther south, toward the quiet deserts of Nevada. The landscape begins to change. The tall pine forests gradually disappear, giving way to wide open valleys painted in soft shades of gold, bronze, and warm earth. The mountains become smoother. The sky grows even larger. Clouds drift lazily across the endless blue, casting slow-moving shadows over the silent desert floor. Here, everything seems to move more slowly. Even time itself appears to take a deep breath. Imagine yourself traveling along an old dirt road. The road stretches far into the distance, disappearing beneath gentle waves of desert heat. On either side, small desert shrubs quietly survive beneath the warm sun. Occasionally, a lone cactus stands patiently watching over the empty land as it has done for generations. There is almost no sound, only the soft breeze, only your quiet footsteps, and somewhere in the distance, the gentle call of a desert bird. Finally, rising from the golden landscape, you begin to see stone buildings. Some still stand proudly. Others have slowly surrendered to time. Welcome to Rhyolite, Nevada, Unlike many ghost towns built mostly from wood, Rhyolite was different. Its builders believed this town would become one of the greatest cities in the American West. They built with confidence, with stone, with brick, with dreams that felt impossible to lose. At the beginning of the 20th century, rich discoveries of gold brought thousands of hopeful people into this quiet desert valley. Almost overnight, the town began to grow. New homes appeared. Hotels welcomed travelers from every direction. Banks opened their heavy wooden doors each morning. Stores displayed goods shipped from distant cities. A train station connected Rhyolite to the rest of the country, bringing visitors, supplies, and endless hope. Imagine walking these streets more than 100 years ago. The morning sun rises gently over the nearby hills. Fresh bread is carried from a small bakery. The smell of coffee drifts from a nearby cafe. Children hurry toward school, laughing as they race one another across the dusty road. Merchants unlock their shops. A blacksmith begins his day's work. A train whistle echoes softly across the valley. Everything feels alive. Everything feels full of possibility. The people who came here believed they had discovered not only gold, but a future. Many built beautiful homes. Some planted gardens filled with colorful flowers. Others opened restaurants where neighbors gathered after long days of work. Families celebrated birthdays. Couples married. Children were born. Ordinary moments quietly filled the days. And perhaps that is the most beautiful part of every ghost town. These places were never only about gold. They were about people. People who hoped. People who loved. People who dreamed of peaceful tomorrows. As you continue walking through Rhyolite, imagine the afternoon sunlight reflecting gently from the large stone walls. A breeze carries tiny grains of desert sand across the empty street. The old train station still stands, though quieter now than anyone could have imagined. Nearby, the remains of a grand bank overlook the valley. Its strong walls remind us how certain everyone once felt about the future. Yet, history often changes quietly without warning. The richest gold deposits slowly became harder to find. Mining companies reduced their work. Investors looked elsewhere. Businesses earned less each passing month. Families began making difficult decisions. Some packed their belongings carefully into wagons. Others boarded trains heading toward new opportunities across America. One farewell became another. Neighbors waved goodbye. Windows were closed. Front doors were locked. And one by one, the lights disappeared from the town. The silence did not arrive all at once. It came gently, like evening sunlight slowly fading across the desert. Each passing season added another layer of quiet. Summer brought warm winds that drifted through empty buildings. Autumn filled the streets with dry leaves and golden light. Winter nights became cool beneath brilliant stars. Spring painted the valley with tiny wildflowers that bloomed without asking whether anyone was there to admire them. Nature patiently accepted every abandoned street. The desert never hurried. It simply continued its peaceful rhythm. Today, visitors often pause among these old stone buildings and simply listen, not because they expect to hear voices, but because true silence has its own quiet music. You may notice the gentle rustling of dry grass, the flutter of a bird resting on a broken wall, the whisper of wind moving through empty windows. Every sound feels softer than the last. Imagine sitting quietly on an old stone step. The afternoon sun has become warm, but never harsh. The air feels perfectly still. Above you, hawks circle slowly in the endless sky. Far away, distant mountains rest peacefully beneath soft white clouds. There is nothing to hurry toward, nothing waiting on a schedule, nothing asking for your attention. Only this moment, only this breath, only this peaceful place that has quietly watched more than a century pass beneath the same endless sky. Perhaps that is why ghost towns feel strangely comforting. They remind us that even after people leave, the world remains gentle. The wind continues its journey. The stars continue to shine. Morning always follows the night, and somewhere wildflowers continue blooming between forgotten stones as the golden sun slowly begins to sink toward the western horizon. Long shadows stretch peacefully across the quiet streets of Rhyolite. The stone buildings glow softly in the fading light. Soon, evening will arrive once again. Our gentle journey, however, is not yet over. Ahead of us lies another forgotten place, a town unlike any we have visited before. Hidden beneath the rolling hills of Pennsylvania rests Centralia, a community where the streets grew quiet for a very different reason, yet where the forests, the evening breeze, and the passage of time have slowly wrapped everything in a blanket of peaceful silence. We will continue our quiet journey there in Part 4. Part 4, Centralia, the quiet town beneath the hills. Take one more slow, peaceful breath. By now, perhaps your thoughts have become a little quieter. Your breathing has found its own gentle rhythm. The busy moments of the day feel farther away, like distant waves slowly fading into the horizon. Our journey now carries us across America, away from the warm deserts of Nevada, and toward the gentle, rolling hills of Pennsylvania. The landscape changes once again. The dry earth gives way to green forest. Tall maple trees sway softly in the evening breeze. Old country roads wind through peaceful valleys where birds sing their final songs before nightfall. The air feels cool, fresh, comforting. Above, the sky slowly changes from pale blue to soft shades of pink, lavender, and deep indigo. One by one, the first evening stars begin to appear. Ahead, hidden among the trees, lies a place unlike any other we have visited. Its name is Centralia. Unlike Bodie or Rhyolite, Centralia was never built during a great gold rush. It was a quiet coal mining community where generations of families built ordinary, peaceful lives. Children walked to school beneath rows of tall trees. Neighbors greeted one another from front porches. Church bells echoed gently through the valley every Sunday morning. Small shops welcomed familiar faces. The town was not famous. It did not need to be. It was simply home. Imagine yourself walking through Centralia many decades ago. The streets are calm. White wooden houses stand neatly beside tree-lined roads. Flower gardens bloom beneath open windows. A gentle breeze carries the scent of fresh-cut grass. Somewhere nearby, someone rocks slowly on a porch swing. Children laugh as they ride bicycles along quiet streets. Dinner is cooking inside warm kitchens. Lights begin to glow behind curtains as evening settles across the town. Everything feels peaceful. Everything feels wonderfully ordinary. And sometimes the ordinary moments become the ones we treasure most. For many years, coal mining provided work for the people who lived here. Deep beneath the hills stretched miles of underground tunnels. The miners worked with remarkable determination, helping to power homes, factories, railroads, and entire cities across America. Life followed familiar rhythms. Morning, work. Evening, family, rest. The seasons came and went. Spring rains refreshed the forests. Summer filled the valleys with warm sunlight. Autumn painted the hills with brilliant shades of red, orange, and gold. Winter wrapped everything beneath quiet blankets of snow. Year after year, life continued gently. Then, during the 1960s, an underground coal fire began beneath the town. It was a fire hidden deep below the earth, far from the peaceful streets above. Over time, the fire spread through old mining tunnels. Engineers and workers tried many different ways to stop it. Some efforts helped for a while, others did not. Eventually, it became clear that the underground fire might continue for many years. One by one, families made the difficult decision to move. It was not a sudden goodbye. It happened slowly. Neighbors hugged one another. Friends packed moving trucks. Front doors closed for the last time. Gardens slowly returned to nature. The streets became quieter each passing year. Today, very little of the original town remains. Nature has gently reclaimed much of the land. Trees now grow where neighborhoods once stood. Wildflowers bloom where children once played. The forests have quietly welcomed the silence. Imagine walking along one of those peaceful country roads this evening. The air is cool. Fireflies begin to dance above the tall grass. A gentle breeze rustles the leaves overhead. An owl calls softly from somewhere deep within the woods. There is no rush, no urgency, only the calm rhythm of nature, continuing exactly as it always has. The hills seem content. The forests ask for nothing. Even the stars above shine with the same quiet patience they have offered every generation before us. As you pause beside an open meadow, the moon slowly rises above the treetops. Its silver light spreads gently across the landscape. The grass glows softly beneath the night sky. Everything feels calm. Everything feels still. Perhaps this is one of history's greatest lessons. Places change. People move. Buildings grow old. Roads become quiet. Yet the earth itself continues breathing peacefully. Morning always returns. The wind never forgets how to sing through the trees. The rivers continue flowing. The seasons continue turning. And the stars remain faithful companions above us all. Tonight, our journey has carried us through forgotten towns scattered across the American landscape. We wandered the peaceful wooden streets of Bodie, where time seems to have quietly paused. We explored the warm desert silence of Rhyolite, where dreams once rose with every sunrise, and now we have rested among the gentle forests surrounding Centralia, where nature has slowly wrapped history in quiet green leaves. Each town tells a different story, yet together They remind us of something beautifully simple. Nothing lasts forever. Not busy days, not noisy cities, not even the worries that may have followed us into tonight. Everything changes. Everything softens. Everything eventually becomes still. Now, allow yourself to imagine standing beneath an endless American night sky. The mountains rest peacefully in the distance. The forests whisper quietly. The desert cools beneath countless stars. A gentle breeze touches your face one final time before continuing its endless journey across valleys, rivers, forests, and forgotten towns. Your breathing grows slower. Your shoulders relax. Your thoughts become lighter. There is nowhere left to travel tonight, nowhere left to explore. The forgotten ghost towns of America will remain exactly where they have always been, patiently waiting beneath the stars, peacefully resting beneath the passing seasons, quietly holding the memories of those who once called them home. And now it is your turn to rest. Allow the silence to surround you. Allow your breathing to become slower and softer. Feel yourself drifting gently farther and farther into peaceful dreams. Good night. Sleep well, and thank you for joining this quiet journey through the forgotten ghost towns of America.